Beaumont United team, beat them 31-16.
Yeah. I thought you still had something you were going to say.
Now, I was letting you.
Oh, you want me to expound on
Well,
that?
we came out early. I know a big thing you've been talking about a lot this year was getting the game started early and getting the ball rolling. And, I think we did a good job of that Friday night, jumping into the game and getting the game started.
No, there was no question. When we had our pregame meeting, that was one of the keys to the game was that, the last previous 3 games, we hadn't started exactly the way we'd wanted to do that. And so it was nice to come out and have a great drive. We strung a great drive together. I think Javion was like 5 of 6 on the drive, and then we finished it off with a touchdown and really got the game rolling out of the gate just like we wanted it to be.
Yeah. And, especially going in this time of the year, getting later in the season and, playoffs approaching, those are things that you want to be good at. You want to come out and score fast. You want to keep the momentum going. And I think Friday night we kind of showed that, we can be that offensive team.
Right. We've been working through kind of finding what our identity is and what we can do well on a consistent basis, and I thought that was probably our best performance we've had since, I don't know, it's been a while that you felt like for 4 quarters we really executed pretty well. I mean, obviously we didn't finish some drives in that first half that we would have liked to have finished. Missed a field goal because of bad snap and just some little things there. We had the turnover on the second drive where we're fixing to go punch it in. And it's a perfect call by them on the perfect play. We're running a naked route, naked bootleg coming out, and Javion has to turn his back, and he comes out, and there's a guy right in his face. We have to protect that ball, but at the same time, he didn't have much of a chance to do anything with it. You would like to tell him to throw it at his feet or whatever. He didn't have time to do any of that other than tuck it and take it. That's kind of all we could have asked him to do. But nonetheless, we came out and executed really well across the board. There were still things in the first half that we had to go in at halftime and kind of talk about to clean some stuff up in the run game. But we told those kids at halftime, we're fixing to come out here, and all 4 of you guys are going to run it, and we're going to get behind the offensive line, and we're going to shove it down their throat. That's basically what we said.
Something you talk about a lot is time of possession, and that was key Friday night. We know we had the ball over 30 minutes of possession, and that stands out a lot. The more times the ball is in your hand, you control the game, and I think we did a good job of that Friday night. And you go look at the stats, Kenny Waters, what an impressive game he had. 28 carries for 238 yards, 4 touchdowns, and that's what you want to see out of a kid like that. Coming from last year to this year, he's already surpassed his total.
Like that, and keep the defense off the field. When they're fresh and running, they're tough, and so we can help our defense be even better than they are by executing and keeping possession. The field position game was great for us all night because even on the drives where we didn't score, we still moved the ball. We didn't punt, which is always a good thing when you're looking back at a game. If we don't punt, I'm guessing my chance of winning that game are pretty high, and so I was really proud of how they came out and like I said, stayed focused. The first half we're up 10-7, and we scored all 17 points in the first half. But they didn't get down. They stayed focused, and then we went in at halftime, made a few adjustments, and got some stuff cleaned up, and then went out and played.
Yeah, and that's all you can ask for. This late in the season, you want to have those clean games, especially offensively. When we've kind of struggled there, and our defense is taking on the load, like you said. Go back to the Barbers Hill game. They ran 50 plays in the first half, and when you get in a game like that, you can't control the game. Right. They have control of you.
And you're going to get tired eventually. There's no such thing as, people talk about, well, they need to get in shape and this, that, and the other. I'm like, well, you can be in shape all you want. Go watch a college game, and you see that every time the offensive team subs somebody, you're going to see a wave of 4 defensive linemen coming running in. And, I don't get to recruit them.
Yeah.
And so, we've got what we've got, and we play a bunch of them, but eventually they're going to get tired if you leave them out on the field too long because it's a tough game. They're running sideline to sideline. They're trying to pressure the quarterback. They're trying to go through a 6'4", 300-pounder in doing it. But, all 4 of the running backs had big plays in the game. Colin played really, really well. Every time we give him the ball, good things happen. We get him the ball out in the passing game. He does good things there. He's a great blocker. Everybody talks about Kenny, and rightfully so. He's really, really good, But, Colin's a guy that can do all those things. And then Joker and and Robert are coming in and really doing a good job. We've been making a point to try to get them involved early and kind of take some of those reps, some of those plays away from Colin and Kenny to keep them more fresh for the second half. And I think it's helping. You know, one, it's giving them experience. Two, it's keeping those two guys fresh and ready to go when it gets second half time. And so, but yeah, I don't know. You know, Kenny would have broken the score record if.
I was going to say that to talk about, but we go ahead and talk about that that play. What did you see there? You know, I went back and watched it a few times, and I couldn't find.
I saw a really bad call.
Yeah, I couldn't find a holding call, but that's a play right there that changes the game right there. You know, that puts up another touch on the board. We hang 40 on them.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you feel a little bit different in terms of scores, but you know, the bottom line is a kid got called on for a hold that, you know, I didn't agree with, and I let him know that, you know, and sometimes, you know, they'll give you an explanation. He didn't let go of him. I said he didn't let go of him, but the guy's 5 yards behind him. He's irrelevant. You know, they talk all the time about not calling plays or calling flags that don't impact a play, and in that particular situation, when he locked onto him, he was in a perfect position, and he finished the block, and the ball was gone. That's an 80-yarder that would have put him at like 319 or 320 and broke the school record. So, you know, it stinks for him individually. Obviously, did it impact the game in terms of the overall result? No, but, you know, for Kenny, that's a big deal. And honestly, the kid that gets called for holding, you're sitting there weighing that on you, and I'm like, dude, do exactly what you did, and you don't get called for that 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah. You know, going over to the defensive side of the ball, Sam Smith had a huge night, coming down with 2 interceptions. But our defense has been playing, you know, lights out all year. But how important was it for you to get a lot of reps out of those younger guys, you know, especially in the secondary position? You know, they're going to step up these next few weeks. And
yeah, you know, we've been making a point of playing a bunch of different guys in the secondary, and it does a lot of things. You know, one, it gives more people experience and more opportunities to prove what they can't do and what they have to work on. But yeah, you know, Sammy played big. He had two picks. You know, we should have had at least one more.
Yeah.
Chance has the cast, so that's his excuse.
I forgot about that one he had down there. Yeah.
Hit him right in the face mask. So we've used that as a topic of discussion in the last few days. But no, I thought they played really well. I mean, honestly, you know, the week before their quarterback went 22 of 24 for like 340 or 330 or something. Was just unstoppable. And then, you know, they had a couple drops, but other than that, really, I mean, we pressured him and made him kind of throw not necessarily when he wanted to on time and things of that nature, and took away some of that effectiveness. So we gave up some chunk yards at times, but, I mean, I don't know when they finally crossed midfield. You know, we gave up a couple plays here and there, and then we would get a stop, you know, and so – they played good and really just kept us in the game, let us work ourselves through our problems, and then, you know, we came out and played well on offense.
Hey, you know, talk about Sammy Smith, but you got to talk about Desmond Hood. You know, he brings the hat, and we saw that Friday night for sure. He came downhill and made a big play, and I don't think that kid wanted the ball anymore after that big hit.
He probably wasn't calling for the ball a lot because he did get blown up. That was the first drive of the game, and you know, Dez is a sideline-to-sideline player, special ability. You know, he's 6'2", he's 220 pounds, and he can run. You know, and the fact that he hasn't been more heavily recruited is surprising, it's disappointing, it's frustrating. So you just keep selling your kids and letting people know that, hey, he's here. You can either recruit him or you can play against him. But, you know, he's a college football player, and he obviously makes us a lot better on defense as a team here, because he makes a lot of plays that can cover up some bad things, you know, and that's the deal. You know, when you got really special players, they make the others around them better because they cover up some warts.
Talking about our QB1, Javion Johnson, how proud are you the way he handled himself Friday night? And, you know, every week he's maturing and, you know, gaining experience in the game, and you can tell he's definitely becoming, you know, the guy that we want him to be every week. He's just growing every week, and that's huge, especially this time of the year, because you get ready to start talking about, you know, playoff run and stuff like that. You got to have a veteran back there, and I think he's doing a good job week by week growing in that position.
Right. He, you know, coming into this year, really didn't have a lot of experience because of the injuries, you know, as a junior and a sophomore. You know, he's kind of just working through that process. You know, he may be a senior in age, but he's not necessarily a senior in experience. And so every week for him, the expectation is he's going to get better and better, and he's going to continue to grow and improve. And he's done that. Last week we ran a little bit more with him, which we had planned on doing. As the year progressed, we're going to keep adding to the things that he does or that we ask him to do. He made good decisions with the ball. And so, the bottom line is he's doing what we've expected. He's a good leader for our team. He's good to his teammates. He's good for his teammates. Because whatever it is that they know offensively, he knows all of it. So, when you think about the learning curve, his learning curve has been a lot bigger and than his teammates. And so he's got to control all those things, getting them lined up, making sure that he's communicated what the plays are, where they're at, all the things, knows his reads for, front side, back side, because we don't read everything exactly the same. He's got to know so much football that it's easy to become kind of paralyzed by the information that you have to know in that particular situation. And so to think that he's done all that stuff since, March, really, April, and then two, again, not having just an extensive amount of in-game experience, I couldn't be more proud of him, And the deal is it hadn't always been easy. It hadn't always been smooth. You have to fight through some of the criticisms, but stay positive and stay confident and keep working, and that's what he's done. So I'm super proud about how he's handled it, and we're going to be a better team in 2 weeks because of the things he does, and I'm excited.
Yeah, that's something I want to ask you. Going back to the Longview game to where we are now in the season, how proud are you of this team as their growth, maturity? We have a lot of young guys on the field, especially on the defensive side of the ball. How proud are you of these kids, for how much they bought in and came so far through this season, getting to the point that we are at now?
Well, I am proud of them. It's a season is always, or not always, a lot of seasons, most seasons have these ups and downs, these peaks and valleys, and the teams that can stay steady in their approach and confident in their approach and believe in each other, they're the ones that typically have the most success. And the deal is when it's always easy, you don't grow as much. You got to go through tough times, really, in my opinion, to see the biggest growth. And so our kids are working through that and fighting through it. And so, I couldn't be more pleased with how they've handled it.
Yeah, and like you say, look at the offensive side of the ball for sure. Our offensive line has tremendously stepped up week by week, protecting Javion, helping us be able to run the ball like we want to run the ball. And that's one thing y'all say a lot is if you can run the ball, we're going to win a lot of ball games because we're going to keep the ball in our hands a lot. Yeah. And with the, having four running backs like we do, you go from Kenny to Coleman, then you go to Joker to Taylor. We have a force back there. Coleman out of the backfield catching the ball. That's been a big benefit to us all year, and we see that each week. So each week we're going, we're mature and getting those blocks up front with that offensive line.
They are, and that group is actually probably one of our more experienced parts of the team offensively. We have a lot of seniors on offense, but not a lot of seniors that have played in this system or at this school or, all the things. Bailey played a little bit last year. Barr played a little bit last year. Devon wasn't even here last year. CJ was playing basketball. Sanders was playing basketball. J-Mo was mostly playing basketball. Carter's just a junior. So, you had Kenny and Colin that played a lot last year, and then you had the three offensive linemen. And that's really the majority of our starting experience, our playing experience was those guys. And so, they've continued to grow and get better, and they still got things that they can fix and get better at. And that's part of the process. It's part of the journey, is that you do see that growth over the course of the 5 months or 6 months, and you just hope that you don't peak too soon, and then at some point you hope you keep growing so that you can keep playing.
Yeah. And, like you say, a lot of these guys haven't played, and, traveling, that plays a big part in, success, learning how to travel and all those things. And we did a lot of that this year. But, talking back to the Beaumont United game, if you go back and look at the second half, that it seems like the second half our team comes out. It's just a different, product on the field. Yeah. And like you said earlier in the show, you go back to this past week, we came out firing on all cylinders, but you have to keep that going through the whole game. And that seems like to look like something we did very well Friday night, keeping our foot on the gas and keep, attacking each play. Because like we say, this season is getting to the end of the district, and we're about to, start playing where, a lot different style of football. And you have to come out and you have to fire on all four because next week isn't promised always.
No, and honestly, we had to start treating it like a playoff last week, and so my deal is we're gaining playoff experience as we go through this because the last week and this week basically are the games that are going to determine whether we get into the playoffs. And so we should already be in that mode, but at the same time, it was good to see us come out in the second half and play well out of the gate, but then also, stay on it, and keep scoring. I think we scored on 3 or 4 possessions in a row, and really created a little separation there, and that's a confidence boost to our defense because they've been putting in they've been playing well, and it was good for both sides to play well at the same time. Like I said, it's great to never punt. It's great to only receive one time. So, if you can do those 2 things, your chances of success are pretty high.
You talk about playoffs a little bit right there. What does your approach change as you get closer to the playoffs? Do you start doing things different? I know the time changes. You lose daylight, but we're blessed to have the light. We practice at the field at A. Martin, so you have the lighting there. But what changes your approach as a head coach?
Nothing really. I mean, you have to spend a little bit more time on the weekend on things because we don't get the film as early. Like right now, we get the film on Wednesdays, so we can start doing a bunch of stuff on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, kind of working in preparation for the next week before you finish this week. But, we won't get the film until Saturday now, moving forward into playoffs. So you got to spend a little bit more time on there up there on Saturday and then obviously on Sunday. But, so it's a little slower on your install probably because you just don't get the video in as quickly. But, typically for us, as we start getting deeper into the season, we shorten the practice a little bit because, you got to save them, save their legs and save the wear and tear and the beating on their body. So we start shortening practice a little bit just to keep them fresh because the biggest deal is to have them ready and fresh to play on Friday or Saturday, whenever it is that your playoff game is. And so that's usually something that kind of comes along as we get deeper into the playoffs. We shorten it up a little bit, but other than that, our preparation is the same. We're going to continue to meet in the mornings. We'll keep going out during the period. The one big change is obviously you don't have your sub-varsity practices and games, so your Thursdays are a little bit lighter, and so we'll kind of start those younger guys on their kind of their beginning parts of their off season while we're still in the playoffs, and then they'll come back out and practice with us after school. But other than that, it's pretty much business as usual.
Jumping back to last Friday, we talk about something like you said, shorten the week up basically and all those things, but special team coverage. We did a great job of that Friday night, and that's something, I think Coach Fudge and, the staff, they get excited over. You watch the sideline, we make those big tackles, make those big plays back in, on our side of the field. That goes a long way for us.
Well, field position is big, and honestly, the last 2 weeks we haven't done a real good job on kick return or on kickoff team of fitting where we need to fit. We had been playing really well, and in the last 2 weeks we've kind of given up some returns that we weren't real pleased with. So we met on that this morning and we worked on it in practice, and we're going to actually spend a little bit more time on it this week just because it's something we had been really, really strong in. And in the last couple of weeks, for whatever reason, we're just not fitting everything exactly the way it needs to. But overall, yes, the first week, against Longview, our punt coverage was terrible. And ever since then, we've gotten significantly better about taking care of our responsibilities on that. Special teams in general has been something that we've had to sell on them that, hey, that's an opportunity to start, whether everybody wants to be an offensive starter or a defensive starter, but they don't really look at those times that they're on special teams as being special. And I'm like, guys, the deal is if you're on every unit we have in special teams, that's 30, 35, 40 plays a game. And so their objective should be to get on as many as you can, and we've got a number of guys that have really bought into that, and we've got some guys still that need to see the importance of it. So we're going to keep selling it.
Yeah, and like you say, we're still working on things, and that doesn't change. And I know y'all's schedule is crazy as can be. I'm pretty sure y'all working 7 to 7 right now, and go to the week. Is it early?
I got up there at 6:15 this morning, and you saw me out doing stadium tours at whatever it was, 7:45, 8.
Yeah, it's 9:05 now.
9:05.
And then going into the weekends, you guys are working basically Saturday through, Saturday, Sunday, morning to nighttime, this time of the year.
Saturday we go in, about, depends on where we were at Friday night. Like I let the guys sleep in a little bit this last week because we didn't get home till later, but typically it's around 8:30. I'll get there usually around 7:30 or 8 on Saturday, and then we'll leave. Offensively, we leave probably around 2:30, 3. Defense might be a little bit earlier, but fairly the same. And then Sunday we have a staff meeting at 2, where everybody's there at that point. But I've usually been there since about 10:30 or 11 to do all the other stuff I need to do before everybody gets there. And then there's usually at least 4 or 5 other coaches that are already there too. And then we'll get out of there anywhere from 5:30 to 6:30.
That's it's important. You got to put the time in to get to where we are and accomplish the things we want to accomplish. But going into this next week and playing a team Galveston ball, and periodically you look back last year compared to this year, they're not the same team on paper, but it's still a football game that's being played. They're going to put 11 on the field. We're going to put 11 on the field. Anything can happen right there.
Well, I mean, you play the game for a reason. That was a really, really special group of seniors that they had. I mean, obviously having Jonah Williams back there, possibly.
Thank God we didn't have to face him.
For sure, one of the top 4 or 5 players in the country last year. I've been doing this for 29 years, and he may be the best one I've ever seen in person. I mean, he's just different, and we beat him last year in 4 or 5 overtimes, whatever it was, and he got hurt right before half, and if people were asking, what do you think would happen? So we'd have lost. I mean,
he's a kid that take over a game,
Well, because he could do it. He could do anything. I mean, offensively, defensively, they used him at Wildcat, at running back, at receiver. He was a returner. And then defensively, he's playing center field back there, and there's no big plays. You might bust one out, and then he's going to go and fetch it because he was the fastest kid on the field, period.
Most
I don't
athletic.
care who you were playing. And he's 6'3", and he's 200 pounds, and, he was different. And so, they lost him. They lost the 6'5" outside receiver that went, he went and played somewhere. I coached him in the Bayou Bowl last year. He's a huge target.
Yeah.
And then the quarterback that should have been back transferred to one of the clear schools. They lost that running back. They lost a couple of defensive linemen. I mean, they lost some really good players for them, and then obviously they have a new coaching staff that's coming in. And so you have that adjustment and you have to deal with as well as what we're going through. But, I mean, it's just one of those deals where a lot of factors have played into some of the results in their game. But at the end of the day, they're going to play. They're going to show up and play, and they're going to win just like we do. So, I mean, it's on us to go and prepare this week and then show up and put our best foot forward.
Yeah, and with it being senior night, everybody, that's a big night for a lot of these kids. It's a lot of, kids last time playing at the Abe. It's a lot of kids last time playing, football game here at the Abe, like we said. Well, I'm saying at the Abe, like we said and everything. But, it's a big night. It's a special night, and, we want everybody to come out and support. But, how important is it to you to make sure you get a lot of those seniors, the chance to get out there on the field?
Well, I mean, there's been arguments on what senior night means. Senior night means we're going to show our respect and our appreciation for them either before or after the game, depending on how people do different things here. Obviously, we're doing it before. It's important because they've spent a lot of time doing this. But what senior doesn't mean is that seniors all start, and so there's been that argument I'm a athletic director as well, so I have to deal with this discussion in all the sports, and that's one of those deals. My goal is and my hope is that every one of them gets to play, because that means that everything went pretty dang good for the Panthers, But at the same time, our objective and our goal is to win the game, and so we're going to attack that with the same, methodology that we do it on a week-by-week basis. We're going to play the guys that we believe are the starters, and then if we get opportunities to play them all, we're going to play them all.
That's how it should be. You got to win a ball game first.
Yeah.
And, this is a game that means a lot because, you come off a big win against Beaumont United, but you got to keep the momentum rolling because this ain't the end for the Pack.
Well, and the other thing is crazy things can happen. We could be in a 3 or 4-way tie for 3rd and 4th if you don't take care of business. And so I'd rather not let it take to tiebreakers and points differential and things like that, because I know if we win, then we're either second or third. If we don't win, then I don't know how that'll all work out yet, because I haven't really looked at it yet.
Well, one thing you say a lot is, we all want a lot of being fans and everything. We all want you to win, so you got to do your, you're going to do your part. We got to do our part, and we got to pack the Abe up.
It'd be great. I'd love to see a full house.
Yeah, and I think it's as time goes and everything, we're going to see more of that, and I think this is a good chance for it to happen. We got a lot of seniors on this team, and they're going to have a lot of support systems there, and we got to do our part. Getting the stands filled and everything. But like you said, though, Galveston ball has a lot. They don't have a chance to make the playoffs.
Nope.
So they're coming in for one thing only. That's to try to
spoil the party.
Spoil the party, and they're going to come play hard. And a lot of those kids know this is probably their last football game. A lot of those kids won't go play the next level, so they're going to come out and give it everything they got because they want to, they want to make a statement. They want to say they beat the Lufkin Panthers.
Well, and they're also working as a coaching staff to establish their program, to build their program. Nothing would really send them into the off season better than to come off of a big win and against us. And so there's a lot of things that they're playing for too that our kids need to prepare and be respectful of what they do every day too, and know that if we don't come out and play our best, then bad things can happen. That's been proven out throughout the year in this district playoffs, or this district, season, is that pretty much on any given night you can be beat by anybody in the district.
We've seen it.
Yeah,
we've seen it this year.
It's happened multiple times to different teams, and so it's just one of those deals where, we owe them our very best. We owe ourselves to prepare and go play our very best, and if we do all that stuff, then the scoreboard's going to take care of itself.
And that's all we can control. We control week by week. Y'all say that a lot. We take every game week by week, and the motto this year has been OTM, on that mission. And the mission is not just a district championship or playing in the playoffs. It's finishing the goal. Finishing everything and accomplishing what we want to accomplish. And that's the only thing we can control. Yep. We control that as a unit, and I think y'all did a very good job of keeping this group molded. And something I see a lot is they play a lot. They play a lot together, and a lot of these kids have played a lot of football together. And, that's something that you should be proud of, having kids that, look out for each other and pick each other up and, want to contribute to each other. And, we have a lot of depth at the running back room. Mm-hmm. And, we have to make sure, everybody, we have to make sure, Kenny Waters touches the ball. Got to make sure Coleman touches the ball. But it's a team unit.
Right. And the deal is you're trying to develop those younger guys for the future. But the moment belongs to those older guys because they've earned their stripes and they're talented. It'd be different if you were, if you couldn't see that there was a little bit more experience and things there. But those guys have earned that opportunity, and those younger guys are learning the ropes, and they're going to be really good football players. They're going to make us better down the road. But the future is them, and the present is right now. But they're a part of the present too, and that's the deal. Everybody that dresses and gets on that bus and goes with us is a part of what we're doing, and they all help us have success. And so they're all important to the outcome of our games.
Well, we're going to take a short break here. Thank you to South First Street Bar and Grill for having us here. We'll be right back here with you live again.
You deserve to enjoy what fulfills you. And if joint pain is getting in the way, you deserve orthopedic care designed to help keep your life moving. For that, you can count on St. Luke's Health, right here in East Texas. Our experts treat a full range of bone, joint, and muscle conditions and use minimally invasive incision and muscle-sparing techniques to help you recover more quickly so you can enjoy what moves you. Learn more at stlukeshealth.org/ortho.
Hey Panther fans, Big Nasty here. Need a short-term loan to cover some unexpected bills or maybe a little extra cash? Give Texan Credit a call today. Loan process that is easy from start to finish, and you will get your money fast. Texan Credit has been helping Texas residents for over 10 years by offering multiple loan options with easy low payment. Located in Lufkin at 509 South Timberland Drive, or look Texan Credit up online, TexanCredit.com. Trust me, if they'll loan me money, they will loan you money. Texan Credit, they say yes.
Hey boss, do we sell to animals?
Stephanie, I'm busy watching the Lufkin Panthers. What do you mean, do we sell to animals?
You may want to come check this out.
Oh, it's Fang. Fang gets whatever he wants. Congratulations, Fang. Hi folks, JJ Webb here from JM Chevrolet, and you can get the Chevy you've always wanted right now at JM Chevrolet. Find your next vehicle at jmchevy.net.
When someone in your family needs emergency care, you want it fast. And now, with Woodland Heights Medical Center's newly expanded ER, It's even easier to get quick, convenient access to 24-hour emergency care. For treatment of broken bones, to care for life-threatening conditions, our dedicated team is ready. Visit ercarelufkin.com for more info.
Well, welcome back. That's kind of sound like here, I think. Welcome back live to the Lufkin Abseck. Hi, we're back at it.
Yep.
Well, Coach, we left off talking about Galveston ball and what we got going this week and everything, but I want to talk a little bit about where we're at in this season. Getting to play a team like Galveston ball, which we talked about just a while ago, but what's this game mean? Like, what's the message this week, letting the kids know, like, hey, we're not done. Just because their record reflects something, they could still come out and beat us, like you said. But we got to keep going in the right direction like we are. We got to practice clean. And I always talk about this on my podcast, but Monday through Wednesday means everything to a coach.
For sure.
If Monday through Wednesday does not go the way you want it to go, Friday is not going to look pretty. So we got to keep that going right. And you said we had a great day at practice today, but talk about what we've been seeing, this week.
Well, we had a lot of energy out there. Obviously, the temperature coming down has been nice to actually get into some football weather. And, it helps not to just be sweltering. But at this time of the year and the temperature starts changing and it gets darker
Feels like
earlier,
playoff football.
it starts to feel like playoff football. And so, the biggest deal for us is that, every week it's a nameless, faceless opponent. It doesn't matter who you're playing. Your preparation shouldn't be reflected by who you think you're playing or what you think of them. It's about us getting better every week. And so, it's not just talking points. That's not just, sayings and whatnot. But, it's the way you want them to approach it, because you have to respect who you're playing, and you have to give them the respect that they've earned and what they're due. And your respect is shown by how you prepare to go play them. And so that's the part of the stuff that, you're trying to teach them as we continue to develop this team and develop this program and the way that I want to do it. We need to learn how to, focus and prepare every day like it's the last game, and if we'll do that and we learn that process and we understand how that works, then we're going to reach the goals that we want to reach.
And, something that helps a lot is having a lot of these kids back that got to play last year and get to go through that, the journey we had, going to the first round and getting to the second round. You learn a little bit about what it's like to, play in the playoffs, because, there's a chance that, we have a lot of underclassmen kids and they've never experienced this,
Yeah.
They never experienced what's at stake and what's on the line, This is not, we just go we just go lose and we got a game next week. You go to the house, and that's not something we want to do. So in order not to want to do that, we got to keep preparing like we're preparing
Right.
in the season.
It's a 1-week season every week, and you're playing for an extra 3 practices, 4 practices, and an opportunity to keep this team together, because at the end of the day, when we finish this, the team will never be the same. I've always said that to every team we ever play, because it'll never be the same again than what it is right now, because a bunch of 35 of those guys are going to graduate, and so our team next year will be different. Period, end of story. You can't argue with it. And so our goal and our objective is to keep this group together as long as they can possibly be. The goal is always to be the last week in December when we're still playing. But whatever that future is, our goal and our job is to give these guys as many games as they can play, and for our team to continue to grow and get better every week. That's my job as a coach, as our job as coaches, is to make them to be the very best that they can possibly be, so we can fulfill their potential.
And having the resume you do have, this is nothing new to you. This is first nature. This is what you've been doing for a long time, is playing playoff football. And, it's nothing that, it just shocks you or scares you or frightens you or anything. You've been there, done those things. And, that helps the kids, trust in you to, let them know, I know what I'm doing. If you believe in me, we can figure this out and work this out together.
Well, you hope so. Obviously anything that you've done in the past doesn't really do anything for you right now, but I do have experience, and I've been very blessed as a coach to have success as an assistant, as a head coach, and for us to get to play and have long seasons. And so you get to experience a lot of those different moments. And the deal is I want them to have confidence. I want them to have confidence in each other. I want them to have confidence in their coaches, that we are going to put them in the best position that we can to have success. And I think, that trust is earned over time. And the longer that you've been with people, the more time you spent with people, that bond and that relationship gets stronger, and that trust builds. And so, you can point to resumes to help get jobs, but then it's what have you done for me lately, and what have you done for me here that matter to people, and what have you done for us? So that's where we're spending all our time right now.
Just talking again, about how much fun are you having with this group of kids? Y'all look like y'all have a lot of fun. It's a lot of laughs and smiles, and most of the time with these group of kids. And like you say, they're a funny group. They're a funny bunch because everybody's different. Everybody's got different emotions.
Every day is a new day. And so it's like it's a constant evaluation of 50 different, 60 different personalities and life circumstances and everything. Overall, yes, having a lot of fun. It's tiring at times because, again, every day is a new day, and there's all kinds of things going on in life, and so you work through it and you help them through those situations and those circumstances, and they're a fun group overall, and they're talented. They've been frustrating at times, but at the same time, that's just life,
part of the job.
And that's just part of it. And you've got 70, 15 to 18-year-olds, and you're going to get a plethora of different things going on in the world. And so it's every day is a new day. You don't get bored for sure.
I understand that. Having the chance to be around this group this year, you get to see them, and they're a funny bunch, man. They got a lot of jokes, and sometimes you think they'd be having that serious face on. They're sitting there cracking those jokes, but that makes you sit there and realize they're having fun doing this, and that's what you want it to be.
Hopefully. That's the objective or the goal, is that they are having a good time. I mean, at the end of the day, I tell them that when we break it out every week, it's like, the goal is to have fun. I said, but fun is winning. Winning is fun, But I want them to enjoy the process. I want them to enjoy being a part of the program, and that's part of the goal, too, is it shouldn't feel like, work or, forced labor. You want it to be something they want to do, that they're getting to do, not have to do. And we talk about those things too, but, they've really been a lot of fun, and they've been really good as far as accepting us as coaches and the different things that we do, because we are different, I mean, it's not good or bad to anything. It's just different. And so you always have questions on how people are going to accept that and respond to it, and I couldn't be more pleased with how they've done it.
Coach Abseck, we're going to try I know y'all are going to try and get y'all a big win Friday night. We couldn't be more proud of this group and what y'all have done, and we thank y'all for everything. Y'all brought excitement back to Lufkin football, and I think that's a great thing. And we thank you for your time tonight, and we're going to take a little short break here at South First Street.
We got to talk about what's happening tomorrow.
Oh, Tuesday, November 4th, we will be at all 3 Whataburger locations. You'll have the guys there. Coach Caples will have the cheerleaders there. Sideliners will be there. Everybody will be there at all 3 Whataburger locations. Chris Johnson and the team are doing some great fundraiser for us. They're going to be giving back 50% of the whole proceeds that we raised at all 3 locations tomorrow night. And we need everybody to come out.
Tomorrow from 6 to 8. If you can come out and support our programs, this is these funds that that we're helping raise is going to go towards the weight room remodel in the TJ Turner Center. It's well past time for that to happen, and we're going to make it happen. So tomorrow is your opportunity to come out and help, get some great food, get some good social time with the football team, the coaches, the cheerleaders. It's going to be a fun time, and it's all for a good cause to try to raise money for our weight room, which serves all of our athletic groups.
And what location will you be at yourself?
I'm going to be at the one on Timberland.
One on Timberland. You can go see Coach Abseck at the one on Timberland tomorrow. And, talk about this weight room a little bit. The equipment is 25 years old. I had a chance to tour it and look at it and everything. And everything we're bringing in is, it's different, it's new, and it's going to be able to keep our kids working at a faster pace.
It's more functional.
More functional.
And the deal is the racks that we're buying and the things that we're buying are giving our kids more options in terms of our program, more options to do different workouts, to work different muscle groups, to build a full body. We can add different attachments to these racks where we currently can't do that because our weight room has to be, functional and usable by all the different athletic groups, from baseball to soccer to track to tennis to golf, football, obviously, cheer. All these different groups are using it. Well, they don't all train exactly the same. And so the objective is to provide more workout spaces. Currently we have 15 racks. When we do this remodel, we're going to have 30, so we can accommodate a lot more kids. And that was the first and primary objective, but then it also to make it more functional for all the different groups to get out of it what they need specific to their sport and to their athlete.
It gives Coach Walden, a chance to do what he wants to do.
What he's there for.
Yeah, gives him more workouts to do, and he can specialize. He was talking about baseball when we were sitting there in that meeting, and they have these certain bars you want to use, and it's just we have so many more opportunities to cater to our kids and give our athletes the best opportunity to be successful on the field.
That's it.
Courts, whatever.
The foundation of every athletic program is the weight room. So I want to put one in there that our kids can work in and develop in and be the best they can be because of what the work we can put in there and get done.
Well, Coach Abseck, we thank you for your time tonight. We'll be coming back at you live in a few minutes. We're going to bring on Trey Hensley, sideliner, and talk about the week, what we got planned for Friday.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for having
sir.
me.
Appreciate you.
Red 18. This season, you can share a Coke with your team on it. So I'm going to tell you how with a little help from this quarterback.
Sally, 44.
You can share a Coke when your team's up.
Red Poncho.
You can share a Coke when your team's down.
Happy Jolly.
You can share a Coke with a coach, a mascot, or an MVP.
Chili, chili, chili.
You can even share a Coke with your rival on game day.
Turbo.
Or you can share a Coke when you're giving out your famous guacamole recipe in a completely packed stadium.
Cilantro, chopped onion, squeeze a lime, Roma tomato, hike.
Share a Coke with a fan this season.
Ice cold, delicious.
Share a Coke is back for the fall football season. We all know what comes with being a fan. The ups, the downs, and everything in between. Whether you've just won a big game and want to celebrate with fellow fans, or want to share a Coke with your best friend whose team just lost against their arch rival, Coca-Cola has something for you. Share a Coke with a teammate, rival, or best friend this season.
It's easy to spot a Texan. The sense of adventure, an unbreakable bond with friends and family. There's no other place in the world like it. At Cook Tire and Service, we know you have places to go and don't have time for car trouble or the patience for second-rate service. Cook Tire and Service offers a full array of services to make sure you get where you're going. With locations in Lufkin, Nacogdoches, and Livingston, there's always a Cook Tire right around the corner. So you choose your destination, we'll handle the journey.
This is a Whataburger table tent. An orange and white trophy for your made-to-order burger. It means we cook your meal up fresh. And don't get up, because we'll bring it right to you. So if you're looking to sit down and celebrate the fact that you left it all on the field, we've got your number. Whataburger, just like you like it.
Welcome back. Lufkin Patrick Football Coaches Show. Here live at South First Street, I have fellow sideliner Trey Hensley sitting up here with me. Before we get started talking about what's going to happen Friday, what location of Whataburger are you going to be at tomorrow?
Probably the one next to Walmart, just the closest to the house.
Yeah, and you going to order a pretty hefty meal tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, the whole fam.
And you got to take care of the family. This is a big deal. We need everybody to come out and support this and make this happen. We thank Chris Johnson and Whataburger for everything they're doing, and we can't be more grateful for what he's trying to do and help us accomplish as a program. Looking at Friday, we haven't got the menu yet for the Sideliners tailgate, but it should be a good one. It should be a big one, and that's something we want to make happen. And what are you going to be doing to contribute to this and make this possible?
On Friday?
Yeah.
Well, help set up the tailgate. Really, our big job is the tunnel.
Oh yeah.
We got to get the tunnel ready early this week because it is senior night. All the seniors and their parents going through it. So that's going to be forefront on it. But we got to get the tailgate set up. As long as you're not cooking, hopefully Doug Russell is.
No, it'll be Brandon Ferrara and Bubba Loggins cooking for us. But
there we go.
We talk about the excitement and getting people out. We got to fill the stands. That's something we got to get better at. And we're trying to do anything we can to make that possible because if we have a full stand, the kids look back up in the stands and they feel like they got somebody there for them, supporting them and everything, and that goes a long way.
Yeah, creates a sense of pride. Looking up there, seeing a stand full of fans, they're being supported. It just makes them probably, play harder and feel like they're actually contributing. And I know it's a big thing that they want to do, pack the stands out and, show out for senior night.
Yeah, and we got a lot of seniors that, they deserve this night. It's been
what is it, 35 seniors?
I don't know the total count on it, but it's a lot of them. And, a lot of these kids that came up through this program and put a lot of work in and seen a lot of, different moments. A lot of these kids have a taste of playoff football in their mouth and got to experience a second-round game against a good College Station football team last year. And we look back at that first-round game against Milby, you look at the stands, and the stands were packed.
Yep.
And, we talked about it tonight in our meeting and everything, but if you look up there and you got a full crowd behind you supporting you, it's just a different environment in the Abe. The crowd's rocking, the band's rocking, Panther Pride's up there rocking, cheerleaders are rocking, and, we got us down there getting that tunnel blown up and everything. But, all that is easy to say and talk about. We got to do it. We got to be there. We have the stream, and we're thankful for it and everything. But, we got to get out there for Friday and support these kids for senior night.
Yeah, nothing beats an atmosphere Friday night at a good football game, and the fans make that happen. And so that's what we're looking forward to. We want to get everybody out in the stands and, standing up for the kickoff. Like all the old traditions that were there, it makes it a great atmosphere.
Yeah, what happened to that? I remember standing up, everybody doing jaws and everything. Yeah, we go back to all those moments, but like the tradition, it never died. We got to keep it going.
Yeah, and the product's out on the field. It's a good team with a good coach, and so we just have to have the fan support, and hopefully they can pack it out on Friday.
Well, you heard it from the man here. We thank you to South First Street Bar and Grill for hosting us tonight with the Carl Abseck Lucky Panther Coaches Show. We thank everybody for tuning in and watching. We'll be back live Friday. We'll be back live Wednesday, 6:30 on Live from the Pines, and we'll roll that into Friday's game with Bonnie. What time will that be kicking off, Bonnie? 4:30. We got anything other sports this week or anything to look out for? We got Friday night football, pack the stadium. If you can't be there, have the stream on. We'll be going live at 4:30, rolling this Coaches Show and getting the podcast and getting a chance to hear Coach Abseck and Gary Ivins back on the sidelines together, following with Jeff Todd before the kickoff. We thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Have a great night.
Thank you. Later.